at the root of all the discussions and the basis for the hostility towards Israel, even though, of course, it really is nonsense, but what they try to say is, you're occupiers, you're thugs, therefore they're resisting, all that kind of thing. Now, I know there's plenty of what seems to be pretty valid arguments about our right to be in the land, whether it's from an international law perspective, a historical perspective, indigenous perspective, self-determination, protection from prejudice, all these things. But it seems like Rashi is pointing us to say that really we have to develop the confidence and the backbone to say this land is ours because the creator of the world designated this for us. And I'm wondering, do you think we need to start saying that publicly? Because I sometimes put this to people, even sometimes rabbis, and they'll say, well, you know, it depends. Some of them might be atheists who are listening, and other people, they just won't respect that argument. And I'm thinking, it seems like that's what Rashi is saying. We've got to start saying.
Look at the prophecy of Rashi. All the other arguments usually prove futile. All the other arguments, there's always a but. We've been screaming about the United Nations and the Balfour Declaration, 1917 in your country, in England. And of course, 1947 and 1948, then there was a Holocaust. And the world looks at us and says, oh, give me a break. Just because you suffered a Holocaust in Europe, that's why you're going to create another Holocaust in Gaza and in the West Bank. That's why you're doing genocide. Yeah, Balfour. Oh, Balfour's been dead many. Oh, the UN. The UN also equated Zionism with racism. The same UN is condemning Israel. The leader of the UN, was worried about Israel being disproportionate and not having a right to do it. What would UN? Suddenly the UN became, really, you're following the UN? The UN wants you out of Gaza. The UN wants a ceasefire. So we keep on getting stuck and stuck and stuck. You know what? It's so funny. When the Muslims speak, they don't have a problem quoting God and religion, and all the liberals respect them. All the left-wing atheistic liberals respect them, even though they don't stop screaming Allah Akbar, the most despicable ambitions to kill Jews, to kill Americans, to kill Western infidels, and everybody wants to hear their side. And we Jews, who gave the world God, gave the world the Bible, are afraid to bring up the Torah. What I heard from the Rebbe, who's my mentor growing up, was that this is exactly what the Jewish people have to talk about. Of course, we should talk about our history. And of course, we should talk about the fact that we had 2 temples there. And we're there 2,000 years before Muhammad existed. Of course, we should talk about that. But get to the crux of the issue. Half of the world respects the Bible. Christians believe in the Bible. Billions of Christians. Muslims believe in the Bible. They respect the Bible. They sense deep down how Jews should speak about Israel. They called Israel the Holy Land. The only ones who claim that Israel is a regular country are the Jewish people. The only ones who claim that the Jewish people are regular people are the Jewish people. Look what's happening. How is it that in Syria there were 500,000 people murdered? 500,000 people, tens of thousands of children, some of them with gas. I haven't seen a demonstration in London, my dear friend. Certainly not 100,000 people. I haven't seen a demonstration in all the universities in the United States. I haven't seen a demonstration in Manhattan. I haven't seen a demonstration in Australia for 500,000 people murdered in Gaza. And what about what happened in Chechnya? 200,000 people? And how many thousands of children? Who knows? Who cares? And what about the Congo? And what about Darfur? And what about Jordan, et cetera, et cetera? And suddenly, Israel really trying to defend itself from Nazis? And the whole world is up in arms. Why? They're all saying one thing. You're a Jew. And we know it. You're a Jew, and we know it. We're the only ones who are saying, no, we're just regular people. We're regular people. It's time for the Jewish people to come back to our basic truth. The only reason we came back to the land of Israel is not because of the falafel and the lafa and the hummus. The reason is we're coming back to Israel as a continuation of dozens, 30, 40 generations of the Jewish people that goes back to Joshua and Moses and Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, who received this piece of land as an eternal gift from the divine creator. And that's why we're here. And it's non-negotiable and it's absolute. It's eternal. Even if we want to give it away, we can't give it away. It's not even ours to give away. It's God's gift to the Jewish people. You want to live in our eternal home as mentioned, as civilized people, which means your life will be much better off than any other Muslim in the region. Pajalista, beautiful. But one expression of terror will be eliminated completely and absolutely. The Rebbe used to say that the greatest mistake of Israel was that after 1967, instead of maintaining this is ours forever, And every Jew is going to be allowed to live everywhere with full freedom, with full prosperity, and they'll be protected unwaveringly. You want to live among us in peace and respect and not killing our children? You will have the best life of anybody else in the Middle East, of anybody else in 22 Muslim countries. Instead, we said, no, we'll give it back. We understand. All we want is peace. And what they saw is a weak country that you can squeeze and squeeze. And with more terror, you're going to get more. And they were right. And then we gave them a Palestinian state in Gaza.